It doesn't take long to become addicted to opioids. 13 Pennsylvanians die from them every day. Geisinger is committed to ending opioid addiction with both prevention and treatment. In the last 3 years, we've reduced the amount of opioids we prescribe by 50%, and we've opened 4 medication-assisted treatment centers across the state to help patients recover from addiction. Learn more at geisinger.org/haveenough.
Additional support provided by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and viewers like you. Thank you.
Pennsylvania experienced a drop in fatal overdoses in 2018, an 18% decrease. However, according to a report from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, while there's been a decrease in some counties, the crisis has significantly increased in others. Counties in eastern and central Pennsylvania are now considered to be at the center of the state's overdose crisis. The report also found that many people who died of overdoses in 2018 died with multiple drugs in their system. Hello, I'm Paula Giangiacomo. Tonight, Pennsylvania Public Media presents our 4th collaborative program, which will focus on current and new treatments for opioid addiction. After this short message, we'll meet our panel.
Hi, I'm Jason Negron, captain of the South Whitehall Police Department. Drug addiction affects the whole family, and getting drugs out of the house is the first step. Drug take-back boxes like this can be found in your community. You can dispose of over-the-counter or prescription medications, anything you think may be harmful. Find a drop-off location near you through PA's Department of Drug and Alcohol programs.
Recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org.
Welcome back to Battling Opioids, a project of Pennsylvania Public Media. Our first guest is Senator Gene Yaw, who represents the 23rd Senatorial District and is the chairman of the Center for Rural Pennsylvania. Welcome, Senator.
Welcome. It's nice to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Can you explain the decrease that Pennsylvania is experiencing from opioid abuse?
Well, I think it really comes down to people have become much more aware of the problem. I think that the attention that we've given to overprescriptions from doctors, hospitals, and those types of things have really had an impact. I don't think there's any question about that. As we've talked about, the purpose why the Center for Rural Pennsylvania became involved in this issue was to raise the awareness of the particularly heroin problem, and it turned into opioids in Pennsylvania. I'd like to think that we have been fairly successful in raising the awareness. Unfortunately, we still have a significant number. 4,400 deaths per year in Pennsylvania that's unacceptable.
700 deaths between 1999 and 2017. Pennsylvania is still one of the highest.
It is. We have a lot of work to do in Pennsylvania, but I think that an 18% drop in 1 year, that's significant, no question about it. But we have a long way to go, I think, in just addressing the problem and why people do heroin, drugs, or opioids to start with.
Why has the crisis shifted from metro areas in the southern portion of the state to the central and eastern portions of the Commonwealth? Or is Philadelphia still a hotspot? I
think everything that I've read, no, Philadelphia is still a hotspot, and for whatever reason. And why it's shifted to central Pennsylvania, where I actually live, I don't know. I know that one of the hearings that we did, I was very sad to learn. We had a hearing in, I think it was in Bradford, Pennsylvania, and they were talking about where their drugs came from. Well, their drug, the source, the channel was from Williamsport. So unfortunately, I think that we are, if you draw a circle around it, I think that that's where it is. And we're in the center of the state. Some major highways go through there, Route 15, Route 80, and everything. So I think that that's trafficking is, transportation of drugs is a key to the location of where the problems exist.
Sure. Well, as a reminder, recovery starts with a phone call. You can call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org. In our first story, we will learn about Prosper, an early intervention program that works with children and their families to help young people to avoid substance abuse and behavioral problems.
It's pretty tough being a mom, I feel. There's definitely no direction and not a right and wrong on every item. I feel that it's important to have good family values and good communication. I feel that love is really key to growing relationships.
It can be hard sometimes to talk to your parents. You're like nervous, you're like, are you gonna get in trouble? Like, what's gonna happen? You're not sure. And we need to tell someone, but someone I can trust. And sometimes you have to take a risk to talk to your parents though, because it's better, because parents don't judge you, they're supposed to be there for you.
If you think about it, prevention, I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's absolutely true. When you think about treating opioid addiction, for example, the treatment's very expensive. It often doesn't work. A lot of people have relapses and struggle their whole lives. And when you've done prevention effectively, you never turn the page on a life of addiction.
So Prosper is a model for delivering community-based programs, and it's really about a community coming together and pulling together different stakeholders and focused on prevention. And when you focus on young people and harness their energy, you can have significant impacts and reduce the likelihood they're going to use alcohol or drugs, but more importantly, engage them to be more civic-minded, engage them to be contributing citizens to their community.
The Strengthening Families program, it's an evidence-based program, and we offer it to the 5th and 6th grade students within our school districts. It's a program that really is to bring families together. We all come in and we all eat together, and then the parents will go with a facilitator, and they will do some activities together, and the youth will be in another room, and they're a little bit more active. They'll go over things like peer pressure and how to say no and how to communicate better. The families then do activities together, and it kind of spins off of what they learned through the first hour.
I've always been passionate about human development and improving the lives of people and young people in particular. And so Prosper came along and was just one of these great opportunities to figure out how we make the lives of young people better.
I just found the whole idea of prevention and being able to go to communities and say, we know this works and we can help you do it right, to be a really positive thing. And I still love it after all this time.
The Prosper model is one of the few programs, evidence-based programs, that's demonstrated impacts in issues such as opioids, in issues of early initiation of drinking, early initiation of any kind of drug use. Far none, there are very few programs out there that have been able to do as comprehensive a job in showing the impacts as Prosper.
I feel like Pennsylvania does a better job than most states at pushing out effective practices and making them available. I think that the problem of youth substance abuse and just substance abuse in general is not gonna really ever go away. It was a problem before the opioid epidemic, and it will be a problem after. So I don't know that we're ever gonna completely solve that problem with prevention, but I do think we can make it a lot better.
The program definitely opened my eyes onto decision-making and how to make decisions. You don't normally think about that stuff when you're in the moment. You don't think about your logic and your reasoning. I'll tell you, the Prosper program let me see where she was coming from.
The Prosper program helped us become more together. The program taught me how to talk to my parents. I learned about peer pressuring, communication, and a lot of those things that works with your family, because it was a family and strengthening program. It taught us life lessons. It taught us a lot of lessons. you can think back and remember, and it helps you like with all the life lessons.
Recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org.
Coming from WITF in Harrisburg is Madeline Maloney, mother of Madison, featured in the Prosper story. Madeline, thank you for joining us. The Prosper story, which I found so inspirational and uplifting. How did Prosper help you and your family? Because this took place a couple of years ago when your daughter was in 6th grade, and it was offered at her middle school. So how did it help you and your family?
We jumped on the opportunity. She came home with a flyer, and we just were in a position where we wanted to get to know where Madison was coming from a little bit better. So we thought only positive things about this, and it really helped us spend some family time together. We got some ideas on how to better parent her, and maybe she got some ideas on how to better communicate with us. So overall, it was a great experience for not only my husband and my daughter, but then my twins, my younger twins, joined us as well through the program.
How did your daughter change, or how did she benefit from the program? Did she become more open, more willing to communicate with you and your husband?
I would think so. Matt, I mean, I think transitioning to middle school is a hard time for anyone. And we had our bumps along the road there, but knowing what she wants without yelling all the time is definitely a better start and a better feel for her to understand the family unit. And I think it helped us understand where she was coming from and get on her perspective a little bit more than just hounding her as a parent perspective to a student.
As a middle schooler, where was she coming from, and what communication techniques do you think you learned from Prosper?
Well, I mean, we had, the academic was always a hard thing for her to participate in. I mean, schooling and listening and partaking in what we wanted our family values to be. So, I mean, we used different techniques, like they would show us videos in the Prosper classes or ideas on how to get your child more engaged. So we would try a couple things. I mean, as simple as chore charts for screen time to just family ideas to get us to spend more time together on the weekends. So, I mean, it ranged, and, we kind of jump around from thing to thing here, but all in all, it helped us transition through some pretty tough years for at least preteens to transition into their cliques in school and such.
Great. It sounds like a positive program, and I'm glad you and your family got to experience it. And thank you for joining us to talk about it. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Joining Senator Yaw on our panel is Cami Anderson. She is a certified prevention specialist and student assistant program trainer at the Tunkhannock Area School District. And Cami, your school district offers the same program, Prosper.
Yes, to our 6th grade families.
So how is it working in your school district? It seems to be a very positive program.
It is a very positive program. And I think anything that we do that can involve families is definitely helping in this time. We definitely need programs like this.
You've been in the Tunkhannock Area School District talking to kids about the dangers of drugs and alcohol for the last 25 years. Yes. Why do you think it's so important to educate children as young as kindergarten about the dangers of drugs and alcohol?
Well, I think we saw what education can do when we look at tobacco, and then I think we saw what the problem when we don't educate when it came to medicine and opioids. So I think to start young, and course, do age-appropriate lessons from kindergarten to 12th grade for every kid every year is extremely important. But I also think it's important to then focus in now with this new epidemic on families who are being touched by this. And we have a lot of kids who need to learn to cope with what's going on at home, who maybe have lost their parents through this, or their parents are incarcerated, or they're being raised by kin or another family member. So I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen, and this is just one thing. But I think education is key in this crisis.
That is a huge consequence of the opioid abuse epidemic, is children now being raised by their grandparents. And Senator Yaw, you've seen this a lot in your community and across the state.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a problem. It came to our attention a couple of years ago at one of the hearings that we had. There was a grandparents that actually came and testified about the problems that it caused. It's still there, and unfortunately, it's probably going to be there for a number of years, and it is just something that we have to deal with. I think the Prosper program it is really something that can help in that situation too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I think it helps initiate communication within a family, which is so important in this day and age when a lot of kids are stuck to their screens.
Yes. I think we also need to make sure kids are getting the same information everywhere. So I think it's important to educate not only the students, but also their family members and our community, so they are hearing the same message consistently.
As a reminder, recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org. Lehigh County's Blue Guardian program pairs police with certified recovery specialists who visit individuals within a few days of being revived by naloxone. The aim is to offer support to the individual's family and to encourage recovery programs.
The best way for me to describe it, when you suffer from the disease of active addiction, that drug becomes your God. Nothing else matters but getting the next one.
The idea of the Blue Guardian really was born out of Assistant Chief Steve Vangello and now Captain Charlie Roca, who wanted to find a way to further help individuals.
Whenever anyone in Lehigh County administers Narcan to anyone, wherever that was done and wherever that person resides, if it's in Lehigh County, one of the officers from that area will go with a CRS to visit the person that overdosed and was given the Narcan, try to link them up with treatment or whatever kind of services they may need.
Pairing a certified recovery specialist or a CRS, it's a person in long-term recovery, so they have been in the shoes where the individuals are that have overdosed. They have that life experience. They have the experiences of overdoses. They understand and they can relate in a way that either you or I can't or a police officer can't.
Part of the illusion of an opiate overdose, you ever hear the term comfortably numb? Well, that's how you feel. It's not until you come out of the overdose where you start feeling the pains and the effects of it. But while you're going out unconscious, you don't even realize that you're dying.
To me, the Blue Guardian name comes from blue for police, like the blue line, and then guardian, trying to work together to keep people safe.
People ask, well, why are we taking these steps? Why are we providing Narcan to individuals? What is the cost? And at the end of the day, it's about saving lives.
I mean, let's face it, when we go out to somebody's house, a lot of times they're scared of the police because they're involved in criminal activity, and right away they think they're getting arrested. I calm them down and let them know that they're not being arrested, they're being helped.
When Allentown PD and my office first started working on this project, we approached District Attorney Jim Martin with the concept and the idea, and the District Attorney was extremely supportive. He did have one comment for us, though, that we needed to go back and retool the program, and if he was going to do it, he wanted it for the whole county, not just the Allentown Police Department.
It's not just a Allentown City problem, it's a countywide problem.
The problem is prevalent everywhere. Don't think because you live out in the outskirts of town that the problem ain't there.
This is somebody's mother, father, brother, sister, that are going through these overdose issues.
We have an opium epidemic. Everybody's aware of it. You know, it's throughout the nation. We do our part in the city to try to get people in the recovery process.
Some of the responses are, I don't want to talk to you, get out.
And I think everybody's familiar with the Peanuts cartoon with Charlie Brown. You hear them womp, womp, womp. That might be what they're hearing. You know, but at the end of the day, when they sit down and they're able to reflect on that thought process, you know, they can say, oh, you know what? These people were genuinely interested in, you know, helping me out. And then you have, I like to hear the success stories from John, where a person 2 weeks later will reach out to him and, you know, they'll be able to go ahead and get them into treatment.
It's a good program. It's different. I think most of the officers, it takes a little bit to get officers to buy in.
I think in our society we've gotten used to the cliches, you can't arrest your way out of the situation. But I think what we've done a disservice on is providing what that option is. What is a tangible, measurable alternative for police? If they can't arrest, then what? So I think Blue Guardian fills that hole of giving them something that they can see and measure.
Let's say 150 follow-ups, they may have contacted about 50 people. So out of 150, getting them into some kind of, like, not necessarily into treatment, but some kind of services.
We can never stay stagnant in any field to progress. And at the end of the day, it's about saving lives. And if we as police officers can partner with treatment to effectively save somebody's life, even if it's just 1 out of 20 or whatever statistic is the statistic, it's worth it.
I would like to see addicts not suffer to the degree that I suffered by spending 17 years in prison before I realized that I better make a change. You know, and the problem is young adults don't get that opportunity today because they're dying, because the drugs are different today. They actually manufacture these drugs to kill people.
Frequently, we're getting calls from the community now who are asking for a Blue Guardian appointment, and there's been no overdose. There's been nothing that's gone on the radar where the police have picked up on it, but they're asking police to come out with a CRS to make that home visit to help them provide services and, you know, understand really what their options are.
I think that this program has definitely changed the way people think, especially those that are addicted, that we're actually there to help, not just to arrest.
Recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org.
Coming from PBS 39 Studios is Captain Charles Roca from the Allentown Police Department. Thank you, Captain, for joining us. And I have to say,
thank you for having me.
This effort that your department is making definitely exemplifies you going over and above the call of duty. How has Blue Guardian expanded since its inception?
It's been expanding in an excellent way. One of the things that we've done is, of course, the foundation of what the program is about, which is a partnership with treatment. Not only has it spread through the department, but throughout the county. And one of the feedbacks that we get from the community is that they're shocked and amazed that something like this would happen, because some of the members of the community are more used to seeing the police arrest the individual rather than help an individual in that way. So it kind of brings it back to what the concept of community policing is about, where it's not just the police policing the community, but the police policing with the community. And if we can create that partnership with treatment to get at a segment of population that needs help, then that creates the benefit of the program. Further, as far as to answer your question, it has grown substantially. People understand that we are there to help them. There is more buy-in from the officers on the street. We work closely with a lot of the drug and alcohol outreach workers. So there is that feedback component to the police officers where they understand the benefit in this partnership.
After the initial meeting, how do you follow up with drug users?
Essentially what happens is the information that we leave them, or if we actually make contact, some people right away will take the initiative and want to go and seek treatment immediately, and that can be set up through the CRSs that we work with. If they need time to think about it, sometimes it's kind of par for the course. and they'll contact the Centers of Excellence Treatment Trends to set up a drug and alcohol evaluation, and they'll have space where they can take them to a treatment facility to secure treatment. And as far as the follow-up, if they need additional assistance, they can always contact the numbers that are provided to them.
So do you think you get less doors being slammed in your face because there's more awareness about this program?
I will tell you, I have not had a door slammed in my face, which is nice. I think part of it is just talking to the person as a human being, and I try to carry myself in all my interactions in that way. And I simply talk to the person as one human to another, because at the end of the day, we have a job to do to connect them with the help. Because in the past, when we came across an overdose prior to the Blue Guardian program, the person, if they survived, were taken to the hospital and never heard a word after that. But with Blue Guardian, we have that effective relationship with treatment, which we can then hear and actually follow what's happening. Also through the RIC and the IDIT system that we utilize, where we can see the Narcan usages and the lives that are saved. It's really telling on the impact that it does have, and that for the community, I think they appreciate that we have that partnership with treatment.
Do you know how many people you've helped who have had success with this program?
I would venture approximately probably 50 people out of 150, I would say, would be an approximate count. I don't have the exact number, but I do know that it is a successful thing that's happening.
Well, we appreciate you coming on to talk about it. It certainly does sound like a successful and positive program. Thank you again for joining us. Joining Senator Yaw on our panel is John Jezik. John, what made you want to get involved with the Blue Guardian program?
I didn't put in for this program. I was chosen for it by my executive director of treatment trends out of the CRS classes, and I was in the beginning phase of becoming a CRS. He thought I was the most appropriate candidate to be able to work in conjunction with the police department and make this program work.
Because you are in recovery.
Absolutely.
And you were in jail for 17 years, and part of your recovery was to become part of this Blue Guardian program.
Yes. More importantly, I've been out of jail 23 years.
Congratulations.
Yes.
What inspires you to help the Allentown Police Department to knock on these doors and help other people find success in recovery?
Because it's needed. People didn't give up on me. I was able to change my life. It might have taken a while, but all the same, it occurred. And I absolutely believe there's hope for other addicts to be able to do what I did and change their life.
Do you feel you're making a difference?
I know I'm making a difference, yes.
How so?
By the numbers, Lane Turner, the county executive, he keeps track of all the numbers, but I also keep track of it. And I know it's working. I would like to see the percentage go up. I think the more advocacy that gets out there in the community and on a consistent level, which in March, I think we've been up and running the Blue Guardian for 2 years now, going on 2 years. Stay consistent with it. A lot of times I go out and people initially, when they see me out with the officers, I go back without an officer too.
On your own?
On my own, yes, to pull them in. Because I understand the fear involved, and I could see it in their face when I knocking on their door.
You can relate to these people.
Absolutely.
How do you relate to them one-on-one?
Well, being a former criminal and being a former active addict, I know what's going on in their mind, because I lived it firsthand. Mm-hmm. And I could see by their body language, their facial expressions, how they're reacting towards the initial visit. And if I see a little spark of hope in their eyes, mm-hmm. that they want some help, I go back.
Well, that's great that you're involved in this program. Senator Yaw, this seems like a successful program. Do you think it's something that could expand statewide?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. And watching the video and listening to what's been said here, I have nothing but the highest regard for Allentown Police Department, and they should be congratulated, and Lehigh County for what they've done. Because if you remember when we started in this whole episode, or the going down the trail of opioids and heroin, the attitude of many law enforcement and police departments was, hey, the person got themselves in this pickle themselves, let them die. And it's so encouraging to see that there has been this 180-degree change in attitude, which people said all along, that's what was needed. It has to be treated as a disease. We've got to look at it from a holistic point as part of the community, and to see that that's what's happening in Lehigh County is very encouraging.
Because this opioid abuse epidemic, it's not just affecting the individual, but it's affecting the community as a whole.
Every part of the community, we've said that. Everything from taxes to the police to medical care, you name it, it affects it.
Well, I commend your efforts, John, and thank you for coming on to talk about.
Thank you for having me.
To talk about your involvement in the Blue Guardian program. Well, as a reminder, recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org. Therapists and researchers agree that there are benefits of exercise, which can help individuals in recovery maintain their sobriety. Donald Davalos has struggled with substance abuse for more than 20 years. He recently discovered Back on My Feet, a national nonprofit that serves people in recovery through organized running groups and other services.
1, 2, 3.
Back on my feet! Back on My Feet is a national nonprofit organization that serves individuals in transition through the power of running and a really positive community. Staff go into emergency shelter or recovery home, and we kind of give our pitch and say, we're here, we've been around, we have a really solid reputation in Philadelphia, known to help a lot of people move towards self-sufficiency. And if you're interested, come out and meet us.
Hey, how are you, John? Back on My Feet inspires me, you know what I mean? It inspired me to achieve my goals, like little goals at a time, but I'm working my way up. In the beginning, when I first started out again, it took me time. Like I could do a couple miles here and there. Now I'm up to 20 miles, which I didn't even think I could run 20 miles in 3 months. I did the Broad Street Run. I did a 5K Super Soaker race. I did the coffee run, and I'm working on to doing a half marathon. I do want to do a marathon. My mom abandoned me, you know what I mean? She left me with her boyfriend and just left me. So, I guess I went wild, you know what I mean? I got depressed, so I started getting high. I started smoking weed first, and it led to other things. I was shooting dope for almost 20 years now, a little over 20 years. Before I got back on my feet family and all that, I was just depressed. I just didn't think nobody cared about me, nobody, you know what I mean? My mom didn't love me. That's all I ever wanted in my life, to be loved from my family, and it just didn't happen. And now I got a family that does and cares about me and motivates me to do better. They help me, they believe in me, you know what I mean? And that makes me believe in myself that I can do it. I'm proud of myself, you know what I mean? This is by far my best effort.
Our motto at Back on My Feet is no one runs alone, and I think that's crucial. And for so many of our members, they've been used to functioning alone. So, whether it's going to be a solid run and people are feeling good, or if it's going to be a tough run that day, you're going to have someone next to you, running right next to you, stride for stride, and that goes a long way.
A big part of recovery is developing structure in your life, and so entering other organizations or other spheres that have structure built in can be a really supportive measure, so you don't feel like you're the one holding up the whole structure. Making sure that the day is planned out can really make or break someone's sobriety.
It's like get up making your bed in the morning. You get up, make your bed, and wash your face, you go out and get ready, run, and get your day started. It relaxes me, and my mind just I'm not thinking about crazy stuff. I feel good, especially when I'm done. I'm like all refreshed. I go get a shower, go get my day started.
What are you gonna do? You gonna do like laugh and laugh?
And then you have all the great kind of dopaminergic, norepinephrine, serotonin releases that come from exercising that can help increase that mood, reduce stress, try to work some of that biochemical balance that we're hoping to achieve. Recovery is so much more than just the drug and stopping the drug. It's so much more than that. And these wellness pieces that we're giving people to help them in their recovery are just tools I would give anyone just wanting to live a better quality of life. So it's not necessary to always pathologize this stuff and think of it as treatment, but just as like, this is a healthy lifestyle that I want you to build that doesn't include drugs anymore.
We're planting seeds, and what we hope to do is have those individuals take that sense of challenge and continue to implement that in their life once they become self-sufficient. Anyone who goes out running on a consistent basis knows that every run that you go on, it doesn't feel good. You're going to have those days where it feels terrible and you don't know if you want to continue doing that. The same with folks going through recovery. Not every day is easy. You're going to have your good days, and there's going to be days that are a little bit more challenging. But having the community surrounding that person through those tough days will ultimately help bring them to the following day. And hopefully that next day is either a better run or an easier day navigating the systems that they're going through.
I'm going to continue running. I'm not going to stop running. And I thank God that I got back into running, you know what I mean? Because it helps me a lot. It keeps me going. Keeps me not wanting to get high. So it helps me because it frees my mind and gets me like knowing that I can achieve stuff. Like before I didn't even care. You know what I mean? I had nothing to really care about. I didn't care about myself, I didn't care about nothing. To tell you the truth, I just wanted to die. But I joined this program. Now people show me that I got something to live for. I mean, I can do it and achieve my goals. It might take a little bit, but I can do it step by step. Little goals at a time.
Recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org.
Joining us now is Ramon LeBoy, who is the director of Back on My Feet in Philadelphia. Ramon, thank you for joining us. I think this program is so uplifting and inspiring. The motto alone, "No one runs alone," is both figurative and literal. How does this help people become self-sufficient?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. It's really, our program works in two ways. We have the heart of our program, which is our morning runs at 5:30 in the morning, all year round, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We partner with facilities, homeless facilities and recovery facilities, and invite people out to run with us. And if people really, really fall in love with the program and want to stick with us, we then work on their professional selves and really help them become self-sufficient again and become employed.
And how does creating structure help people recover from drug abuse? How important is that?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty crucial. We find that the more structure that we can find and implement in people's lives, the better they tend to do. A lot of our folks that join our program haven't been living structured lifestyles for a while, and they just building off the skill sets that they might have had prior to their addiction or prior to their homeless experience. We find that they just really, really propel themselves back into employment and self-sufficient life.
How do you feel knowing that you are inspiring people to do something better with their lives, to live a healthier lifestyle, and to help change their lives?
Yeah, it's great. So I myself, I come from a social work background. So finding something that I've loved growing up and has helped me in my life, running, it's been really, really great to kind of help others navigate their hardships through the same practices, running, and it's been really great. I've been here for 7 years and seeing countless people just really excel and really reach all the goals that they had set out for themselves when they joined our program.
Besides Back on Your Feet, is there anything else you do to help recovering addicts?
Yeah, we have a lot of in-house workforce development programs that we have set up, trying to build off people's current skill sets, give them new skills to make them more employable. And we also partner with a lot of great companies and organizations around the city and all of our markets around the country. The classes have really, really helped our folks move forward and find better opportunities.
Great. Thank you so much, Ramon, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Thanks.
Joining Senator Yaw on our panel is Jesse Miller. He is the Director of Drug and Alcohol Programs at Robinson Counseling Service Center of Wyoming Valley. Thank you for joining us, Jesse. What programs do you have to help recovering addicts kind of overcome their addiction and get their life back on track?
I think the programming starts when we bring them in the door and we do what we didn't do in the past, which is we stop talking and we listen. So what we try to do now is create a program around them, be it group therapy. We have abstinence-based because there are still individuals that would like to seek, abstinence-based therapies. But we also know that the MAT population, individuals looking for Suboxone or Methadone, Vivitrol. But the one thing I think we do differently today than we did just not so long ago is we assess their mental health and their physical health. People that are struggling will say, well, what's the use of getting clean and sober if I'm struggling with my mental health or my physical health, or I don't feel good? So one of the things that we try to do is incorporate all of those. So we're blessed to have an integrated care model. So under one roof, our consumers have access to outpatient substance use treatment, medication-assisted therapies, mental health, and medication management for depression and anxiety and symptoms like that. But we also have physical health, so they can have a physical done and blood work done and have access to those kind of services.
It is important to help treat someone's real issues, like what's behind their addiction. How important is that?
You're right. I think we spent many years thinking that if we remove the substance from the individual, which can be done very easily, we send someone to inpatient, we remove the drug, we think things will be better. We learned very quickly that wasn't the case. There's a lot of things that we need to stop talking and listen. A lot of underlying trauma. We heard from programs like Prosper and others where we're getting into the school. Let the kids understand that there's a way to raise your hand and say, something doesn't feel right here, I don't feel comfortable. By doing those kind of things, what we do is we teach people to manage their emotions better. And I think ultimately, when adults come into treatment, that's what we're trying to get them to do.
Let's get to the source of the problem. Wouldn't you say you found that in your communities, Senator Yaw?
There's no question about it. And once again, I'm really encouraged by the integrated program. I mean, for many, many years, and I think our approach was wrong, we had this cookie cutter approach that you send somebody away for 30 days and they come back and everything's fine. Well, I think history says that doesn't work, or it didn't work, and it was probably a huge waste of resources and money. Mm-hmm. So the integrated approach where you look at everybody differently, whether it's running or whether it's mental health or Prosper or something like that. That was the one thing we found out in all the hearings that went through the Center for Rural Pennsylvania. It's almost individualized treatment. What works for one person may not work for the next person. And it took many, many years, I think, for us to recognize that. But I think that everything we're hearing now is just like with your integrated program. All of a sudden, it's like, it dawned on us like, wow, maybe there is a different way that we need to look at this. And we need to look at mental health and all these other issues that come up.
As a reminder, recovery starts with a phone call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org. Neonatal abstinence syndrome is a group of problems that occur in a newborn who was exposed to addictive opiate drugs while in the mother's womb. In our next segment, we'll take a look at Growing Hope, a program created to help expecting mothers that are addicted to opioids.
So neonatal abstinence syndrome is, again, related to medications or substances that were ingested while baby was inside of moms that can cause secondary harmful symptoms. So some of those symptoms would be just irritability or forms that, well, basically the baby will show signs that they are withdrawing from that substance, which can present in 10, 15 different ways. The main thing we worry about is seizures. So if we see significant signs of symptoms before they have seizures, we like to intervene pretty rapidly.
They're very agitated, very flailing, very cry nonstop. But other systems they withdraw from. They don't feed well. They get diarrhea. They get terribly sore butts from the diarrhea. So it affects not just their neurologic status, but their whole body withdraws from it.
For withdrawal, we know about most infants before they're delivered that they've been exposed to opiates. If for some reason we don't know and we suspect it, there are very obvious signs such as tremors, they have a tight tone, they're irritable, high-pitched cry. So we're able to use the Finnegan scoring system, and that's very specific to NAS infants. And that is several different things that we assess for, and then they're scored and given a total. So based off the scores, we're able to tell, okay, they're showing some symptoms, or no, these are just normal newborn symptoms.
So what do we do for neonatal abstinence syndrome when they do show signs of some withdrawal? So most of the time, when we get numbers like 90%, we know not all 90% of those patients require medications. Some of the most beneficial things we can do is to create a non-stimulating environment. That would be really skin-to-skin contact with the moms without exogenous lights. Have a nice quiet or white noise type environment. So without, blaring sounds and alarms and bells. So quiet, dark is kind of the most important things we do. Regular feeds and skin-to-skin contact with moms is essential for decreasing scores and making sure that baby feels like they're comfortable. I think of skin-to-skin contact with moms as creating that perfect spot created specifically for that infant, right? That baby knows your heart rate, knows your pheromones, feels your skin temperature. Everything about that mom to that baby is perfect for a spa. So they're relaxed in that sense.
We really encourage breastfeeding here. It's one of the most important things you can do for your baby. When mothers who are on opiates breastfeed, they're actually giving their infants tiny amounts, and that actually helps them withdraw and helps them go into a smoother state. Breastfeeding is also great for bonding, and it is the best thing to help them grow. So we do pretty much full care when the parents aren't there. We bathe them, we assess them, change their diapers, feed them, swaddle them. We do a lot of hands-on care, and we also have cuddlers come in and do care as well, but we're pretty much the moms when the moms aren't there.
If a woman comes in and she identifies as using any type of opioid, whether it be prescription or non-prescription, we discuss with them the different options that they have during the pregnancy. One of those is we have a program that we've created called the Growing Hope Program, which is to help with education during the pregnancy for moms about what to expect during the pregnancy, during labor, and then after the delivery, also with care of the newborn, but what she should expect.
And one of the big parts of the Growing Hope program is we provide a centering education class once a week where we help teach the moms how to handle their babies going through withdrawal. We discuss breastfeeding, we bring in the neonatologist, nutrition, a doctor to discuss anything with pain. The nurses are available to help these moms during this class so that they can feel more comfortable delivering a healthy baby and being able to take their baby home. So we want moms to not be afraid to seek treatment, not be afraid to seek prenatal treatment, because they need to do what's best for their baby. And we're out there to help them, so they need to be aware that there's programs and services that can help them during their pregnancy to stay clean. I think one of the big things is that people are afraid to get help because they're afraid their babies are going to be taken away. And I think that's one of the stressors that we need to stress to them, that if they comply with our program and stay clean throughout the pregnancy, Child Protective Services doesn't get involved.
Every baby that we get to send home and have gotten through this is really a story. We remember them. The nurses really remember them because they get close, with some of the babies, some of the families. And it's those good outcomes that we remember that allows us to come back the next day when we have a bad day with a baby, whatever the case, whether it was bad medically and had a setback, or just a day where you could not console this baby that's withdrawing. So we really relish all of those experiences, to be honest with you.
Recovery starts with a call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org.
There's a program in northeastern Pennsylvania that also works with expectant mothers who are ready to overcome opioid addiction. It's called Healthy Moms. Coming from VIA Public Media Studios in Pittston is Maria Colcharno, the Director of Addiction Services at the Wright Center for Community Health. Maria also supervises the Healthy Moms and the Opioid Use Disorder Center of Excellence program. Hi, Maria, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How is the Healthy Moms program in Lackawanna County similar to the Growing Hope program, or is it the same thing?
It has a lot of the same similarities. One of the pieces of our program is it's a collaborative. It's a collaborative with many other agencies. We've tried to remove the silos in the different counties that we're working in. Currently, we're in Lackawanna, Wayne, Susquehanna. So we've really expanded and into Luzerne County and Wyoming. So we're very excited about that. But the collaborative takes in many of our other programming throughout Outreach, St. Joe Center. We work with about 25 other agencies.
So how do you help these expectant mothers who are in recovery?
Usually they're struggling to get into recovery. That's one of the processes. We work with CRSs, which are certified addiction specialists, as well as having the support of getting them to an OBGYN, starting them with maternal family health services, WIC, setting them so that they're going to be prepared to be healthy and happy mothers and good parents.
How do you locate these moms? Aren't a lot of them afraid to admit that they're abusing?
Interestingly enough, many of them will. My phone is the phone number that the mothers contact. I feel it's very important to have that initial contact be someone who is very interested in getting them into the program. Many of our mothers come from the criminal justice system. We've had a number come in. We've served 82 mothers to date, and we plan on, I think we've had 43 births as of yesterday, so it's pretty nice.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful program. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about it.
Great, thank you for having me.
As a reminder, recovery starts with a phone call. Call 1-800-662-HELP or visit battlingopioids.org. Senator Yaw, this program, another positive, uplifting program that's being offered.
I think it's a great program, and the benefit of it is we're being proactive. We're being proactive not only for the mothers, but they're being proactive for the children. So, I mean, it sounds like a win-win for everybody involved.
In closing, Senator Yaw, what do you think about this whole opioid epidemic? Are we making strides? Are programs like this really helping to raise awareness? And what more do you think needs to be done?
Well, I think education is always the key. This program has just, I think it's emphasized, though, all of the little things that we have talked about ever since the Battling Opioids program started. And I want to thank the public media in Pennsylvania for putting this together because as I've said, the way I got started in it was to raise the awareness of this problem. And I think that you've done a great job in doing that, and that's something that we have to pay attention to. But this program it just reinforces all the little things that we've talked about, whether it's having the police have a different attitude or having different programs for different people and recognizing the fact that it is an addiction disease. And
it takes a village to combat it.
It takes everybody, and everybody has a cost. It's not free to anybody. I mean, there is a cost to everybody involved. So I think that those things are all great.
Well, I'd like to thank Senator Yaw and our panelists for being a part of tonight's discussion focusing on current and new treatments. It is our hope that those in need of help will have access to information on where to get help and to save lives. On behalf of Pennsylvania Public Media, I'm Paula Giangiacomo. Thank you for watching.
Major funding for Battling Opioids has been provided by...
It doesn't take long to become addicted to opioids. 13 Pennsylvanians die from them every day. Geisinger is committed to ending opioid addiction with both prevention and treatment. In the last 3 years, we've reduced the amount of opioids we prescribe by 50%, and we've opened 4 medication-assisted treatment centers across the state to help patients recover from addiction. Learn more at geisinger.org/haveenough.
Additional support provided by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and viewers like you. Thank you.